weekly recap here in week 9. So we have the Chicago Bears taking on the Detroit Lions, and it is the Lions who secure the victory over the Bears, going 7-2, taking the first seed in the NFC. Tannehill defeating Carson Wentz, the rookie, who's been having a great rookie season. Then you have the Los Angeles Rams against the Washington Commanders, and it is Garrett Gilbert and the Commanders finding a way to defeat the Super Bowl defending champions, 21-13. Now, no passing touchdowns there for Gilbert, but they were able to find a way to make it happen. Julio Jones is definitely a cheat code and definitely helping a young quarterback with not much talent find ways to win. Then we got the Cleveland Browns versus the Baltimore Ravens, and it is Geno Smith handing the ball off there to Elliott, and so we have a touchdown there for the Ravens. Browns fall to 2-6. Ravens ascend higher in the AFC North. Then we got the Colts versus the Bengals. And here we go. We've got the Indianapolis Colts and Drew Brees. There we see the screen pass there with Chris Johnson. A 43-33 showdown between Brees and Derek Carr. And it is Drew Brees and the Colts coming away with the victory. Strong victory there for the Colts. Definitely a new look team there. Then we got the Patriots taking on the Denver Broncos. And here we have the New England Patriots coming away with the victory as Tom Brady throws a touchdown pass there to Michael Crabtree, 24-18. Both quarterbacks with over 200 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Let's get to the rest of the games. And as for the other games, we see the Cowboys versus the Eagles, where Teddy Bridgewater nearly threw for 300 yards, defeating the Dallas Cowboys, who are on a 2-game losing streak after going 6-0 on the year. Russell Wilson with the 1 turnover, Fitzgerald over 100 yards receiving, but it's the Eagles who go to 4-4 on the year. Then we have the Panthers defeating their division rival, the New Orleans Saints. We see that the 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions were not enough here by Blaine Gabbert, and Joe Flacco leads the Panthers to a 6-3 record here in Week 9. Then we got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the New York Jets. We got Alex Smith with 183 yards and an interception. Barkley came in near the end. We had Stafford with 174 yards. Not really a good running game by either team, but it's the Seattle Seahawks who come away with the difficult victory here. Then we got the Atlanta Falcons coming away with their 3rd win of the year after having a rough start. Vikings are now 5-4 after falling to the Atlanta Falcons. We see Emmanuel Sanders with 101 yards, Aguilar 99 yards, the rookie Treadwell with only 2 receptions and 40 yards. Then we got ourselves, where are we? New York Giants versus the Tennessee Titans. Giants win by a touchdown. Sanchez with 3 touchdowns, completing with a touchdown to Floyd, Beckham, and Boyce. We've got Rodgers falling to another loss, 3-6. So Rodgers threw for 4 touchdown passes and 273 yards. Rodgers looked good. It's just the Titans are just not that good of a team. Then we got the Green Bay Packers in a 6-3 game. No touchdowns from either team. Just pitiful and awful, but a win is a win, and we have 2 straight wins for Paxton Lynch as a starting quarterback. He did get injured for a little bit, so that's why Rivers came back in, and it was Prescott who started the game, or Osweiler who started the game, and Prescott came in during the middle of it, but he threw 2 interceptions, so I don't even know if that's enough to earn him a starting job over Osweiler, even though the Jaguars are 2-7. Then we have the Steelers over Houston. We see Roethlisberger getting the victory there. 85 yards for Todd Gurley. Houston Texans fall to 1-7. So Pittsburgh trying to contend for the division and the playoffs, while the Texans are possibly in the Myles Garrett sweepstakes. Then we got the Cardinals over the Chiefs by 9 points. Dalton with 228 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bortles, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Richardson with a nice 70 yards. Marino, 65 yards. And it is Arizona coming away with their 2nd win of the year. Then we got the Oakland Raiders, or Las Vegas Raiders, losing again. They are 0-8. This is crazy, terrible season for them. They do have some decent pieces. It's just falling apart for them. Jared Goff and the Chargers move up to 4-5 in a division that they can come away with and win, even though they had a really rough start. Then we have the 49ers, Bills, Buccaneers, and Dolphins all on bye week. Then we look at the news. Drake Kirkpatrick getting the game ball apparently for the, I think it was a pick 6. So top performers, you got Rodgers in the loss. Ezekiel Elliott getting 116 yards and 2 tutties. Man, Dante Fowler, 4 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss. I don't know if that's all the same play. But that's a lot there, though. 4 sacks in one game is huge. Delaney Walker up there. Von Miller. Rookies, Wentz, Hill, Braxton Miller getting a touchdown reception there. Joey Bosa, 2 sacks there for the rookie. Surprises. And the disappointments. I don't know why that's a disappointment. He came in for like 2 plays. And so here are some of the updates on the injuries. And then the transactions. We had some trades. I'll get to the trade graphic very shortly. So let's go back to the standings now. So the Patriots take a lead here in the AFC. They're 6-3. The Ravens are 6-2, so they currently lead the AFC. Patriots right behind them. But in the AFC East, you got the Jets and the Bills just a half game behind them. So Patriots need to have their bye week, and we'll see how things shape up. Dolphins 4-4, despite being a very powerful team. Buffalo on a 3-game losing streak. Then you got the Ravens 6-2 with the Bengals and Steelers right behind them. Browns on a 5-game losing streak. Pittsburgh on a 4-game winning streak after being 1-4. Now they're 5-4. So Pittsburgh's turning their season around. Ravens 5 straight wins for them. Colts 5-3, 2 games, or about 2.5 games ahead of their opponent Tennessee Titans, their division rival. And then you have the Jaguars and Texans both having a 5 straight losing weeks. Not good for either of them. Then you got the AFC West. You got Denver Broncos and the Chargers tied for first in their division after the the Chargers have 2 straight wins. Chiefs are on a 4-game losing streak after being 3-2, and the Raiders are 8 straight losses. Now the Cowboys have some competition for number 1. You got the Commanders fighting their way back to possibly overtaking the Cowboys for the division, despite having such a great start for Dallas. Then the Giants are 5-4, 1 game behind both, and the Eagles are now 4-4, finding their way back after a slow start. Then you got the Detroit Lions at 7-2, leading the NFC. And then you got the Bears right behind them by a game, and then the Packers by a game and a half. Vikings right there. Every team here in the NFC North is above 500. Then you got the Panthers, who are 1 game ahead in the NFC South with Tampa Bay a half game behind them. You got the Saints and the Falcons 3-6, 4 straight losses for the Saints after starting out 3-2. And Falcons are on a 2-game win streak, so that's good for them. Then you got the NFC West. You got 5-3 Rams, the 4-4 Niners, and the 4-5 Seahawks, and then the Arizona Cardinals at 2-6. Now switching over to league leaders, we got Aaron over there with the most with 2,200 yards and 51. So he's about 200 yards ahead of the runner-up in Blake Bortles. Then it's Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Derek Carr, all the way down to Roethlisberger, Newton, Flacco, and Luck. Sanchez, Garrett Gilbert is up there, but he is throwing to Julio Jones. We see Rodgers, Carr, Bortles, Brady, Newton all in the top 5 in touchdown passes. And Matt Ryan is working his way to almost 20 interceptions this year. Not great for him. And then 26 sacks for Jimmy Garoppolo. He is getting his butt handed to him. Rodgers right behind him. And then Mariota with 20. When we look at our rushing leaders, Jay Ajayi is still ahead. We got Kevin Smith, Bradshaw, and McFadden, who now is on injured reserve. So Darren McFadden, don't know why his face is gone. But Darren McFadden, he is on injured reserve. He is out for the rest of the year. Then we have Ryan Matthews. We got Trent Richardson. Doug Martin, Spiller, Charles, and Ingram all in the top 10. But, yeah, there's your running backs. Your touchdown leaders is Jay Ajayi, Trent Richardson, Giovanni Bernard. Yeah, I don't know why Richardson lost his face, too. That's really weird. So something must have shifted or updated. Then we have the receiving leaders. Julio Jones leads the way by 5 yards. And then you got T.Y. Hilton, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyreek Hill, and Calvin Johnson Jr. with Deshaun Jackson right there with 3 yards behind. Nix, Fitzgerald, Harvin, and Stills. Kenny Stills there in the top 10. We got our touchdown leaders is Julio Jones, Tyreek Hill, followed by Beckham, Quick, and Rob Gronkowski with 8. Drops, we've got Niles Paul, Chase Kaufman, Jamison Crowder, and Chris Moore. Tackle leaders are Shamarko Thomas from the Steelers, Kenny Phillips, Chung, Wagner, and Sean Williams. Sack leaders, we've got Dante Fowler with 10.5 on the year. That's halfway through the season and already at 10.5 sacks is pretty nice. 4 sacks last week is what got him all the way up to 10. You got Derek Morgan with 7.5, Sidbury with 7. Then we have from Olivier Vernon, Griffin, Ansah, Martin, and Tuitt with 6.5. Tackles for losses, we got Sidbury up there, Fowler, J.J. Watt, Derek Morgan, and Chris Long. Safeties only DeMarcus Lawrence and Jarrell Worthy. Forced fumbles, Donta Hightower. Those Commanders, that Commanders defense is really coming through for them. And then recoveries, Hightower, Poe, and Hunter. Interception leaders, it's Barron and Rhodes at the top, and then a lot have 3. So top 24 is all 3 interceptions. And now we will get to the trades, because this is the trade deadline, so a lot of moving parts here. The Baltimore Ravens want to get better on defense. They bring in Bernard Pollard, and they give up their 4th-round pick this coming draft to the Atlanta Falcons, who have been having a rough season. So the Falcons move on from Pollard and get a 4th in return. Patriots, who are in the buying market, get Vernon Davis, who's a 32-year-old tight end from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they give up a 5th-round pick in next year's draft, not 2017, but in 2018. Then the Las Vegas Raiders, they give up Eric Woods, an older center, to the Colts. Colts are working with a rookie center who's like a 67 overall. He's actually been doing all right, but I figured the Colts are trying to move into the playoffs here and have some success, and so getting a veteran center is going to help them for the rest of the season. Then the Raiders also trade their Julius Peppers, who's like a 35-year-old defensive tackle or something like that. So Peppers was with the Carolina Panthers his entire career, and then the Raiders decided to bring in the old defensive tackle to see if that would turn their season around. And now that they're 0-8, they are gonna go and try to get some draft capital. So a 6th-round pick for the old defensive tackle is the exchange here for the Eagles to the Raiders. Pittsburgh also gets involved in the trades, where I realize I need to do a better job of putting 3-4 teams with more defensive tackles. So I have 3 defensive tackles for Pittsburgh, and I think I need to get a better one. So the Texans, who have been having a terrible year, are getting a 4th-round pick in exchange for Cam Thomas. And then the Ravens get back into the trades here, and they give up Antoine Goodley, like a 67 overall, 65 overall receiver, not really anyone that was worth keeping on their roster. And then they give up their 5th-round pick this year and a 6th-round pick next year for Dante Moncrief, who is the 3rd-string receiver on the New York Jets. So let's go ahead and look and see how these trades have reshaped some of the depth charts. So the Baltimore Ravens made 2 trades. So they bring in Dante Moncrief, who is the highest overall receiver on their team. They are the 1st seed in the AFC, and their best wide receiver is a 75 overall Julian Edelman, who's more of a slot receiver. So I had to fix that, so we brought in Dante Moncrief. On defense, they had Raheem Moore, a 73 overall safety who is injured. So they were working with Phillip Thomas and Ryan Mundy, a 72 and a 73 overall when healthy. So they bring in Bernard Pollard, who is, I had to see how old he is. I think it was 30. Yeah, he's 31. But they're able to then buff up this defense, get a stronger safety, and they are able to get a 1st-string wide receiver. As for the New England Patriots, they had Bear Pasco, the 67 overall tight end, as their number 2 tight end. But I throw the ball a lot with Tom Brady, just as you would with the Patriots. And so getting the 32-year-old tight end behind behind Kyle Rudolph allows us to have that extra pass-catching tight end. He can block. He's got decent size. So I think that was a very easy trade for the Patriots to make. Now, as you can see, I had Demetrius Rainey and then Matt Skura. So really, Matt Skura should be the 2nd center. But they have Eben Britton, they got Zach Streif, they got Zach Martin, who's their best offensive lineman, Josh Laribus. But they could have moved maybe Orkevius Watkins, but it's 71 overall. But getting Eric Wood, who is a center that is 30 years old, but 77 overall. Matt Skura is also injured. That's right, he had a back strain. And so that also played into a little bit of he's not even available. And so 77 overall definitely helps beef up the interior offensive line for the Colts as they head off to what could be a playoff and maybe Super Bowl contending season. And now the Falcons did give up Bernard Pollard, and so they still had Rashad Jones, a strong safety who's a 78 overall, kind of the Chancellor and Jones. Chancellor has not become the Seattle Seahawk 90s plus overall safety he was in real life. But Cam Chancellor locks down the strong safety. They move Rashad Jones over to free safety to fill that gap of Bernard Pollard. Now the Jets, who also moved on from a receiver, they had a solid depth there. They had Percy Harvin, Antonio Brown, Marcus Wheaton, and then they also had Dante Moncrief, who they sent to Baltimore. And so I figured they could get a few draft picks here for their third-string receiver, who just was not getting the playing time he deserved. So that was an easy trade for them. The Raiders, who gave up Eric Woods, have A.J. Cann, who's a 70 overall in his second season. And so since he wasn't getting playing time, I thought, let's go put the younger player there. So they've got Teron Armstead, Sua Philo, Morgan Moses, Brian Beluga, and now they give the young man, A.J. Cann, the start at center with Eric Wood moving on. Also, they had Star Latulele at defensive tackle. They got Ronald Blair, David Perry. So Ronald Blair is not really, fantastic. He's just a 23-year-old. So he is a hidden dev. So it's, moving on from Julius Peppers allows them to have younger players play while also picking up a 6th-round pick. And if we just go to the Eagles here, we see Peppers becomes significantly the best nose tackle, defensive tackle on the Philadelphia Eagles, going from 72 overall, Bo Allen, Rodney Gunter, and Sheldon Rankins, who is now in the depth chart here. You'll see Rankins is number 2, but Julius Peppers is number 80. So they're 4-4. They're trying to move back into the playoff picture, and this is a team that has a lot of experience and talent, and so they're trying to buff up any way they can, and Peppers fits what they need in the defensive front. Now looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers, again, they got their edges, which this is a 3-4. So we have J.J. Watt and Doomerville kind of almost playing a bit more off than they should be. I think when I first had this, I originally had the Steelers in a 4-3, but I think when I switched from Madden 25 to 26, I forgot to change that. So I might have to shift them back to a 4-3 soon enough. But either way, I had Sammy Hill as the number 2 defensive tackle when Cam Thomas now moves us up to 280 overalls as defensive tackles. So definitely a boost there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When we go to Houston and the interior side, they did lose a valuable defensive tackle, but they do pick up a 4th-round pick, which is high draft capital for Cam Thomas. So Jordan Hill, Antoine Woods, if we look at they're 22 years old, 25 years old, so a lot younger than the rest of the defensive tackles than Cam Thomas was, who Cam Thomas is right now 29 years old, approaching 30. So those are the trades. That does shake up the draft a little bit, as we see Texans pick up that 4th-round pick. Let's see, Jaguars didn't get anything this year, but who else did trades? We had the Eagles losing their 6th-round pick. So Oakland picked up a 5th and a 6th there. That's really good for them. Let's see, we also had Jacksonville. No, the Falcons. Where's the Falcons? Getting that 4th-round pick by Baltimore. And so, yeah, there you have it. So that is the weekly recap here for Week 9. We move to the double-digit weeks starting soon. So thanks for watching. Leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. Thanks for watching.